Hi, it's Julie, and I'm back again for my monthly creative abundance seeking around the full moon. And this full moon is full moon in Taurus, so I went looking for earthly delights. And where I ended up is this old tree that had toppled. This is a water shed, so the roots don't always go deep, and there's any number of trees that topple. This one looks like it's been, I don't know, who knows? I don't know when it was uprooted, but it's one of the many that has been uprooted. And so you can see these tree roots. Here's some that are bigger, and this looks like the intersection of a couple of trees that have come down. So I went to tree roots and rootedness in general, and even just the symbolism of a tree that gets toppled and loses its rootedness. What does that mean as a symbol? I mean, now you can see like there's a spider web and there's moss growing, like nothing ever truly ends. This has become a longer interconnection of crisscrossing trees, and I'm sure there are lots of critters that are enjoying living here. But it's moved on. So these are interesting. I feel like I'm visiting a beautiful rune, like an ancient rune site, and these are the remnants of things that used to go. Used to be dynamic and vibrant and living in a particular way. I realize now they have their a different kind of vibrancy. So this has shifted. Like even just looking here at kind of the tendrils. Oh, I was wondering if we'd get any fungal stuff. Mushrooms. Leaves have fallen upon it. It's kind of like a holding place. All these crisscrosses too are very interesting. Meeting points where things meet. I'm kind of describing the scene more than interpreting it. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper. Going into kind of the temporal aspects. I've talked before about going into the past, projecting into the future. So if we were to like reverse time and this tree going back to its initial growth through the ground, rising up, who lived here, whose paths intersected with this tree when it was younger. Then, of course, it's had this toppling down moment. Projecting into the future, what happens here? Does this all get cleared away and something gets built here? Or does something else happen? So that can be a really exciting and poignant place to seek creative inspiration. So as we journey with this particular tree or a critter that lives on this tree, or the roots themselves that were once in the earth and now have been separated, what was their experience like? Let's go up. This was the spot. What was the experience here? The other place to look at is the sensory experience. So as I'm sure you can imagine, the smell of earth and leaves, the texture of these tendrils, the webs, even the colors of the gold, even these, I mean, they're all different. You think they're just brown, but when you look closer, you're like, oh, they've got a lot of different hues to them. And there's a bright, shocking green moss, which has its own texture, different from the kind of gnarled roots. So any of those textural pieces could become a launch point for creativity. It's not a particularly windy day, but there is the sound. I didn't talk about the sound. So there's the sound of far off traffic, And then there's an occasional kind of creak as a tree shifts a little in the wind. There is a little bit of swaying that's happening, and it's a very cloudy day. So even that itself is something to consider. The temperature's mild. It's unseasonal for this time of year for it to be so mild. So there's a strange, solemn aspect to being here right now that again is very atmospheric and has all kinds of associated feelings that go with it that could be points for creativity. There's really beautiful bark pattern here. I'm really kind of drawn to some of these textural designs, almost like abstract art, some of it. It's just, there's some red, very, once you stop and start looking, oh, the thing I suddenly thought was like, what if this was where you lived, right here? I don't know, I just imagine a little mini creature living right here. What's your day like? I think that's kind of a fun one. The seasons here are obviously going to change where I am. What kind of variation you have, it depends on where you live, but it would be quite natural for me to want to put this tree being into different seasonal contexts to see how that might change the vibe of this place. Yeah, I'm finding in this one that I feel quite, I'm going to say sorrowful. Sorrow. I feel sorrow next to this tree. There's just something about being toppled in this way. And kind of all these pieces broken. That just feels on a day like today, where it's kind of very soft and gray. There's something about like a majestic creature has fallen. I don't know. Beautiful rune. That's kind of how I was initially considering this. And I'll leave now and just say thank you for this tree, for offering to be featured. And I'll leave it there for this month. We'll see you in another month.